Hello, Steve. Hello, Joe. It's time to game classy.
There you go. Recording is in progress.
Oh, this method is better for sure, but I do miss that weird robotic voice going, "The recording is in progress."
Like the 2012 recording voice. That's
Yeah.
that you're like, can't we do better with voices nowadays?
Yeah, and they're like, absolutely. Will it cost more than 3 cents? Yes. All right. Well, then keep the shitty voice.
It's not even 3 cents. Will cost more than 0.03 cents.
Yes. Very good.
I mean, that's well, and that's the reason why I don't even use Zoom anymore. It's because it's like, yeah, you could make money off of us using your platform, but you choose to go the worst route possible for it.
Mhm.
And you make it so ungodly expensive. Like, I know it doesn't cost that much for upkeep and for like servers or whatever else you're doing for it.
Yeah. No. It's a flim flam, man.
It is exactly what it is. It is a flim flam.
Yeah, it's a flim flam. I mean, well, they're doing it to get money out of private citizens. Yeah, I'll say private citizens are a bonus. The goal is to get big money out of corporations.
Yeah, but corporations that don't have like any notion of what they're spending their money on.
Exactly. Yeah, because
Like,
it's what could a banana cost? $10?
It's like a banana, Michael. How much could that cost? $10. Here's $10. Go see a Star War.
Go see a Star War.
I remember I don't think we're working for the company at the time. I could be wrong though, but back in the day, when I started it with Games Workshop, there was a storage facility that was not too far from the bunker, and they had just closed down a couple game stores locally, and the game store sent all of their GW stock to the bunker. So they took the bunker, all of us employees, they had to take all of this stuff over to the storage facility, and put it in this massive, 2 lockups.
Oh, that was a bit before I started.
Yeah, and there was a ton of stuff. I mean, like, you just think of all of that, like blisters of like 40K and fantasy stuff.
That was where the legendary Skaven army heist happened, isn't it?
No, that's different. I can explain that at a different time.
Oh, okay.
There was no heist. It was an old employee left his car in the parking lot for 6 months with a Skaven army in the back seat, and someone was like, finally, like, fuck it, I'm gonna take this. And then he tried to sell the army in the store, which was the problem.
Yeah,
if he had just taken it home and like
played with it,
or stripped it because it was not very well painted, he would have been fine. But
actually, I completely.
Well, wait, hold on. Before you get to that, with that storage facility, I don't know if Games Workshop ever did anything with that. They could still be paying rent on that facility and have no concept. And there's like 2 massive lockers filled with Games Workshop.
Oh, you know what? They probably are still paying for it.
That probably not, because I know that the CFO at the time was working as like the what's it called, she was working at the bunker in the Midwest location, so I'm sure she was on top of it. She's not one to be like whatever and hand wave it. I'm sure she's aware that it exists, or it existed and it's now not existing anymore.
That's true.
Yeah,
so she was always on the ball.
Yeah. Just to let you guys in on a little bit of secrets, there's probably a Games Workshop treasure trove hidden in Downers Grove.
It's hiding somewhere.
It's not hiding. I have a relative idea of where it is. If you had to ask me what like the locker was, I probably would not remember. But
well, I think maybe it's time. Speaking of heists, maybe it's time for us to do the Great Games Workshop heist.
We'd have to make sure that it was in there though. Like, and that's the hard thing. Like, you can't know for sure what's in the locker.
Yeah, you got to have the reconnaissance.
Yeah.
We need a guy to do a voiceover while going over blueprints and explaining the situation to us.
Yeah, I'm sure. I like how, like, the idea of heist where it's basically like, I'm going to give this guard $200 to look the other way.
Yeah,
and then I'm going to go in there with a pair of bolt cutters and cut the lock.
Yeah, that could be part of the scene when they're doing the like they're showing the heist before the heist.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like you don't even need a like a Lockman, like a Jimmy or
No, we have the Lockman, and it's just the guy. It's like, and the Lockman is Phil because he has bolt cutters.
Chunk.
yeah, yeah. And then it's just like some dude in like a t-shirt and jeans, like, and he holds up the bolt cutters with a smile.
Well, and the funny thing is that all of that shit was stored there because it was unsellable at the time. Right? Like it was a bunch of blister packs. You could not sell them anywhere because they were essentially, you would be selling them for less than how much they were worth.
Yeah.
Because but now because of the prices on some of that stuff, you'd be making a mint, Jerry, a mint.
Yeah. Ideas like these, they're gold, Jerry, gold.
I don't know, but I mean, the thing is most of that would be the fantasy stuff. The 40K stuff would probably mostly be worthless because it's old, like, third ed metals, and those are like, I don't think there's a big enough demand for those.
Don't know, but hey, you know what I do know is you could just use those. You could use those fantasy figures for the old world.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was saying, and a perfect transition, Steve. A perfect transition. But before we do that, welcome to Game Classy. I'm your host, Joe, and with me is always my co-host, Steve.
Game Classy.
We're only like 6 episodes away from 300.
That's crazy.
It's crazy town. But yes, they finally started talking about the rules for the old world, and Steve is salivating from both ends.
I really am. Like, it's very exciting.
I really am.
It's pretty exciting. The only thing it's weird. Like, I saw the marching versus combat order. I like that conceptually a lot. A lot, especially because like the marching thing, it actually gives you some serious movement boosting because did you see it's triple speed? It's triple speed in your marching order. Very big fan. The thing I'm not a fan of is, god damn, that's going to be so fiddly.
Yeah, I mean, from what I can tell so far about Old World, it's gonna be fiddly.
Yeah,
like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have to. I know they don't want to do it because it's not sexy, but they really have to explain to people, look, the Old World, it's a game about movement. That's what this whole game is about.
Fantasy's always like until the game got broken by a million billion special rules. Fantasy was always a game that was won or lost in the movement phase.
Yes, I mean it was always won or lost in the movement phase, but they never talk about it like that because it's not sexy.
True.
It's like, oh, the combat with people fighting with the swords and the shields and the axes and the orcs and the dildos. That's what it's all about. The clash of armies. Like, no. You have to spend 3 turns maneuvering your army and getting him in the right place, and then getting into combat.
Gotta get real fiddly here.
I know, and that yawn is perfect right there for that because that's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, I was already thinking about having to move my figures to get the longer ranks than frontage, and I'm already sleepy.
Yeah, it's all right. So you can move from combat order to marching order, but it's going to take a quarter of your movement or a half of your movement, and so it's like, Jesus Christ.
I think it's more likely what it's going to be. Or hang on, let me formulate this thought. Okay, so looking at it, I do not think it's going to be something where you're actually actively switching between marching and combat order. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I think it's very unlikely to be the case. I think what's likely to be the case is you're going to deploy your regiments in marching order. You're going to do one march move, then you're going to reform into combat, and then you're going to be in combat shape for the rest of the game.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. The only way that you would move to marching column is if you do a massive deployment fuck up.
Yeah, or if you do like a huge overrun, I guess, like a huge overrun, and you need to turn around with your free reform. That's something I could see.
Yeah. Either way, it's like here we are discussing, movement like we're playing a Napoleonic game. That's basically what we're doing right now. One thing I did find interesting, they're bringing back the old Bretonnian lance formation.
Yeah,
pre-6th edition, Steve. They're going to 5th edition,
and they're making the triangle, baby.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that I really like. It's like you got new rules like marching columns, and you got old rules like the old lance formation. It's like they're cherry picking, Steve.
And skirmish is back. Skirmish.
Oh, skirmish they had skirmish all the way through 7th. I know that. I don't know if they had it in 8th. I'm sure they did.
I don't know. Did they get rid of? I thought they got rid of skirmish units in 8th, but because 8th was the edition where like they made Beastmen, everything was rank and file. So I think 8th got rid of skirmish.
Yes, maybe, but I know that they had it in 7th for sure because they had skirmishing bowmen in 7th.
Yes, they definitely had it in 7th.
I like how we always remember old rules based upon whatever army we had at the time. Like you were playing Tomb Kings, and you're like, I didn't have any fucking skirmishers, so they wouldn't skirmish. But I played Empire, and I'm like, no, they had skirmishing bowmen for sure. Yeah, I think I liking what I'm seeing so far, though. I'm like, it's a return to form. It's old. It's got a couple new things. I feel like they've taken their time on it. But once again, it's like I'm kind of sad that they started with movement. I know the movement's the first phase, but movement is so unsexy, and it's like when I'm reading about it, I'm just like, yeah, that's unsexy. Wheeling is unsexy. Wheeling sucks. Wheeling always sucked.
Yeah, I actually hate wheeling.
Yeah, everyone. That's why you always deployed, and you're like I have to deploy exactly where my troops are going to charge in. Like there's no choice about this. I'm not moving them.
Yeah, I always just hated measuring. I always hated measuring wheeling because you had to use that fucking. Basically, it was like either you fucked it up or you used that wheeling measuring tool. So
Yeah,
that was the only way. Those were your two options. Either you used the wheeling measuring tool so you could wheel properly, or you fucked it up. Those were the only ways it worked.
I just wish wheeling should just be a free movement.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I mean reforming, different. Wheeling, like up to I don't know a quarter turn. I don't know. 45 degrees, something like that.
Yeah.
Then that should be free. But so that was what was previewed. I think they're doing strategy phase next week. So we'll get to learn more about the strategy. No, not the strategy phase. The shooting phase, because they already did the strategy phase.
Yes, and they're putting, and maybe they'll touch on what spells are going to be going off during the phases too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they talked a little bit about that during the strategy phase. Did we even talk about that in the podcast? And I know we were off last time, so we may have missed it.
I don't think we did, but
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, they listed that, like, basically there's going to be wizard spells for almost every phase.
Yes.
But what I meant by my statement was maybe they're going to disclose some of the spells.
I hope they do. I mean, because when they showed the strategy phase, they talked a lot about like the special spells that you're getting in each phase.
Yes.
So I'm kind of excited about that. I like that concept far better than I like the magic phase.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be like Age of Sigmar style, where you just roll 2d6 and see what you get.
Yeah, they didn't really talk too much about that, I don't think.
No, they didn't. But I have a feeling it's going to be because you can't have a dice pool if you're doing things in, if there's no magic phase, there's no magic pool. So
yeah, yeah, you get because everything has a casting value. I know that.
Yeah, they showed the one Tomb King spell had a casting value of
Jaff's
7.
incantation of cursed blades.
That's right. The cursed blades.
Is Jaff's.
Jaff made up the spell, just like Big B.
I bet you it's pronounced Jeff. Like it's Jeff's incantation of cursed blades.
I'm an Egyptaboo, but man, I ain't gonna even try to. I ain't gonna even try to pretend I know how to pronounce Egyptian words.
No, this is our great ancient pharaoh, Jeff.
Jeff. Mr. Goldblum.
You know what? I'm gonna do a Tomb King's army, and I'm gonna have the pharaoh Jeff.
And make it Jeff Goldblum.
I cast Dance Macabre.
You see,
I don't know any Tomb King spells. I'm sorry.
You see, I'm casting the will of the asp, and then that's gonna allow these archers to re-roll their ones when they're in the shooting phase, and as you can see, I'm still mostly just hunting for 6s, as those are going to be the poison attacks.
I'm actually laughing. I can't believe I'm explaining this joke. It's kind of stupid that I am, but Jeff Goldblum's one of his first movie lines was, I think it was either Manhattan or Annie Hall, and he's on the phone and he says, "I'm sorry, but I've lost my mantra." And this literally says, as the Lich Priest utters this ancient mantra, and I'm just like, ha. It's one of my go-to Jeff Goldblum quotes. That and well, there it is.
There it is.
Good times. But yes, they're doing spells every phase.
We could have a coupon day.
On coupon day. And the strategy phase is mostly like, what's what I'm looking for, like tests and stuff like that, like stupidity, and probably what's the orc one called when they're rabbling?
Animosity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God, I haven't heard that word in forever.
Yeah.
The orc animosity and all that stuff, and any like enchanted items that basically would go off, make like compulsory moves. So
I think I mean, I really hope they don't do the classic animosity because that rule always fucking sucked ass. It's just like, yeah, your unit just doesn't fucking work. Sorry. Like it was like, yeah. So basically, it's a huge downside and there's no upside. Like, oh, well, are my units point costed comparatively to have such a huge downside? No.
Oh, so the orcs get this, and that makes it very themey for the orcs. You know, it could be really effective, or it's most of the time it's not. Does this other army have something like that? Oh, no.
Yeah, no. They
sir.
only have upsides.
They only have upsides, sir. You play the orcs. You've made your choice.
Yeah, that was pretty annoying.
Yes, so that it's nice that we're finally getting an idea of the rules, and they're kind of fitting more into what you and I had expected. That it's going to be more like this. This feels more like 6th edition than any of the other editions.
Yeah, it's going to be the hodgepodge.
Yeah, I don't know, but it feels 6y to me. I don't know why.
Fiddly movement, and you saw a picture of a unit that had a 4-man frontage.
There you go. Yes, I saw a picture of a unit with 4. But you know what that actually the change in the frontages means? You can't really do Kings of War style bases.
Well, the fact that you're going to want to move between marching and
combat
is like that immediately means you're not doing Kings of War style bases.
I mean, you can kind of do it if you have an idea of what the marching column will look like and what the combat order will look like. So if you have, you're at least going to have a 4-man marching column, you can at least, do like 12 of your men in there, and you could take the other couple guys and throw them in the back, separate.
I think what maybe will work out is instead of regiment trays, actually just having a few on 4-man bases, like 4-man squares.
Yeah, 4-man squares. That could work too.
Yeah,
ooh, magnetic 4-man squares with little magnets on the side so they connect together. Oh man, it's getting fiddly. It's getting fiddly up in this house.
Where we are getting fiddly.
I would never do that. That fucking sounds awful.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. Looking at it, my initial thought is I'm probably just going to do classic ass, everyone on their own base.
Yeah, I probably will. I mean, the only problem would be rebasing for the 20s to 25 up to 25.
Luckily, I have no classic stuff, so
you have no classic stuff. You are okay there.
It's a-okay.
No, I'll just end up printing out a bunch of like insert slots to make my 20 squares up to 25 squares. Yeah. Spray them black and then be done with it.
Or just slap them in a movement tray that's properly oversized.
Slap them in a movement tray. Slap them in the movement tray.
Slap them in the movement tray. Slap them.
You were too busy preoccupied whether or not you could. Didn't ask if you should.
Slap them in a movement tray.
Slap them in the movement tray.
The only one on my side is the blood-sucking lawyer.
Slap them. Slap them. Slap them in the movement tray.
We're in the club playing Warhammer Fantasy.
Yes. Then all of a sudden you got like the opening to Black Hawk Down playing, and it's just like the bunker all over again.
Some girl came up with me, tried to flirt. I said, no, I'm playing Warhammer. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Get out of here with your flirtings. So speaking of the old world, did you see, I think it was almost 3 weeks ago, they did the Warhammer preview, Warhammer Day previews, and they showed off all the Bretonnian stuff.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's pretty much a chunky redesign of most of the stuff that we've seen. There's a new, character model on Pegasus who looks super sweet.
Mm-hmm. And then the Foot Queen.
And then they got the Knights on foot, which I thought were interesting.
Yes, that is an interesting choice, but I mean, I'm down.
Yeah, you are down to clown. The Pegasus Knights are the same. The Knights of the Realm are the same. Men at Arms are the same. Bowmen are the same. You do get a new Handmaiden, so it's a very much a mix of the old and the new, and a field trebuchet.
Finally, the trebuchet.
But the thing is that is the old trebuchet. Will they be releasing it in resin or metal? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone is intrigued as we are.
Oh no, it has been remastered as a Forge World resin kit. There you go.
Oh, okay.
So boo.
Boo.
A pox on all of you for this.
Well, it just means you just buy a fucking trebuchet that isn't the Games Workshop one.
You print a trebuchet. You buy a China
just-
cast version of the
don't-
trebuchet.
I just don't like resin models, man. I'll just buy I'll just find some historical plastic and use that instead.
I don't know if there's. I can think of a historical plastic trebuchet in 28.
I'm sure there is one. It's probably made by some rando.
See, I don't think I would mind the field trebuchet in resin, as much as I would like if a unit in resin would probably be a little bit more annoying.
No, that's a good point because you're gonna put it on a big base and you don't really need to worry about like.
Yeah, you don't need to
mounting it.
move it and everything else like that. It's
Yeah, that like honestly, that's my biggest like
gripe.
well, not gripe, but like my biggest hesitance about doing a like 3D printed army is like I don't want a resin army. Like I just like literally do not want that.
I do not want.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just. I mean, I think there's lots of great. There's so many great 3D prints. They are just really nice. I just do not like resin, man. It is like. That's
That's the wave of the future, man. Everything's resin.
I just hate it. It's so fucking fragile. It sucks.
I mean, it really is. I'm sitting here working on a bunch of D&D stuff this weekend, and like, I'm working on some. What are the sturges? You know, those flying needle bat things.
Yeah.
And I was just like a wing broke off one of them, and I was like, fuck it.
Yep.
I'm just
that's
gonna
that.
keep painting it.
Yep. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
couldn't find the wing. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. It's just like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just your shit's gonna break way more with resin.
Yeah.
And most of the time, like, okay, so this is what I always tell people, and like I was explaining this to Dwayne. When you print stuff, you know, you don't have to worry as much about if it misprints or something breaks, right?
Mhm.
Because you just reprint it.
Right.
You don't sit there and be like, oh no, this thing I worked very hard on broke. And like, no, you didn't work that hard on it. You printed it. It's garbage. You could throw it away.
Right.
It costs 0.0000 cents.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of more. It has a lot more disposability than like your fully painted garage kit that you purchased or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's not always the case. Like if I'm doing like a massive dragon and I fuck up on the wing, I'm gonna be pissed
Or
because
your
that took a
Titan.
long time and it's a lot more resin. But if I'm doing like a dwarf slayer, I'm not gonna get upset. I'm just gonna go
Let's print another
to-
dwarf slayer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna print another dwarf slayer and be fine with it. And sometimes I actually print extra just in case I get one or two that fuck up.
Mhm.
And
That makes
I'll just toss those if I don't need them. Because it just makes life so much fucking easier.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
But yeah, you know what the best thing on that preview was though? Was the Sidonian Sketros pops. No, so the Sidonian Sketros. You know what that guy was?
No.
That's the Mechanicus guy on stilts.
Oh yes.
The stupidest fucking model ever produced.
Stickman. Kevin lost his mind about that model. It was so funny. He was like, I feel like a crazy person.
Yeah. No, I'm with him 100%.
Yeah, he's like, how did this happen?
Why would they do this? What's the point of this?
Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah, that was the best part. It's like it wasn't actually 100% like hatred of the actual model sculpt, which is terrible. Don't get me wrong. Although I feel that it does. I feel that it does really match the fucking Mechanicus aesthetic, which is fucking goofy shit. But like the sheer like disbelief of just like how did this happen? That was more because like I said, I think like I don't like the model, but I don't like the Mechanicus aesthetic. However, I would not say that model doesn't fit the Mechanicus aesthetic because their shit's goofball. Like that's like they have a fucking jet plane with bat wings. Like their shit's goofball.
Da-da-da-da.
No, it's even worse than Batman because it's not just a bat shape. It's literally like floppy bat wings.
It's a gyrocopter.
It's not a gyrocopter. There's no propeller. It's fucking insane. It is the most deranged shit. It's funny.
No, I'm with you. I was like, I couldn't believe when I saw it. I was like, wait, that's real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very
for
funny. Very funny.
My second favorite part of the reveal was the Necron Lord, who looks so much like every other Necron Lord. I was just like, wait a second, that's a new Necron Lord.
No, he's new. Like he's cool looking. I like him. But yeah,
I know you're an
he's-
Egypt boo. You like
just a-
anything Egyptian.
he's just a better looking Necron Lord. That's all it is. Like they didn't change anything on the design. They just made him look better. You know,
I
it's
know,
like,
it's just-
it's like a new Marine. It's like yes, this model is cool. Is it new? Not really.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like the Necron Lords are the Space Marine Primus, Primaris Lieutenant.
Yes, yes.
There's just like you cannot do anything to really change the way that they look.
Right.
They're multiple poses in that way.
Yeah, this really is. It's like, did you give me a new or cool pose or a multiple pose? Like cool. Like that's what I want. Am I like talking about like, oh man, it's so amazing and no. It's just like it's just cool looking.
Now, a model that was reviewed that I absolutely adored, but I will never buy, is the Warden of Lost Souls figure for the Stormcast. He's the dude, the skull dude on the dragon.
Oh, that guy's awesome.
He is Lord Relictor Eonis Cryptborn.
Yeah. He's awesome. That dude is fuck. I can't remember who that is. Shit. I can't. He's an old world character.
Is he?
Yeah. But I can't remember who it is. Like, well, so like a whole bunch of the.
Yeah,
A whole bunch of the. There's the one. The one.
Oh, he was the
Stormcast
Lord. He was the Lord Relictor from the original first edition box set.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also the anvils. I think it's the anvils of the Heldenhammer. The Stormcast that are black armor and gold trim. Those guys.
Yeah.
So almost all of their like named characters, like which they don't actually have rules for, but almost all of their named characters are specific characters from the old world. So like, one of their like leaders is named Balthus something, like Balthus Golden.
Yeah, he's supposed to be Balthazar Gelt.
Yeah, he's 100% Balthazar Gelt. They talk about it like he has like flashbacks in the lore in the books where it's just like he's like, I remember a golden mask, and it's like, oh, he's Balthazar Gelt.
It's Balthazar Gelt.
It's Balthazar Gelt. Yeah, that stuff's pretty cool. But yeah, Cryptborn is someone I can't remember if. Oh, right. I know he. I don't actually know. No, he's not a specific old world character, but he was a White King.
Okay.
He was a White King that was destroyed, and then before Nagash could resurrect him again, as you know, just bring him back, Sigmar stole him from Nagash. So like Nagash very specifically wants Cryptborn back.
Yeah, that dragon he's riding is amazing. Like I don't like a lot of the Age of Sigmar dragons, but this dragon looks fucking cool.
But what about the Dragonheart dragons?
I am the last one.
I am the last one. Yeah, I mean they just like those dragons just they absolutely look like the fucking dragon from Dragonheart. So I mean I was kind of partial to that.
I don't like lion dragons. I don't like the people who do dragons that look like lions. I just don't do it. They're not sexy enough for me.
You know what is super fucking sexy? That fucking Manticore. That lady riding on the fucking Manticore for the Cities of Sigmar.
Oh yeah, I like that Manticore quite a bit.
That Manticore model is fucking dope.
Yeah, and surprisingly, like, because I remember the last Manticore that GW did, the plastic one was terrible.
The Chaos Lord of Manticore?
Yes.
It's okay. There's nothing to write home about. That's for sure.
Exactly. But I mean, like, you have. But you see what I'm saying? Like that one wasn't released that long ago, and now you have this new one out, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, the new one's very, very cool.
Yeah, and then we also have the Belthanos, the first Thorn of Kurnoth, calls the hunt. Oh no, that's just the title. It's Belthanos, the first Thorn of Kurnoth. He's just a dude riding a big bug.
Oh yeah. That's the
dude riding bug.
Yeah. That's the new not Wood Elf stuff.
Yes. I think that there's probably going to be a Wood Elf army released in the next year.
Yeah, they're kind of the Kurnoth hunters, the like weird kind of like satyr guys.
Yes, I love those figures for Shadespire.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Those are actually one of my favorite models to paint in that entire range so far. I had such a blast painting those guys.
I can see it.
Yeah, and my only problem with it was that I'm such an old school Wood Elf fan that I immediately went to painting it old school Wood Elf style, and I'm like, this doesn't work for these models anymore. You can't paint it this way.
It's true.
I was like, no, I'm a creature of habit. Yeah, and so one thing I wanted to talk about was the so they're doing that. They do that. What's it called? The campaign style books now for Age of Sigmar.
Oh
they're
yeah,
doing,
like
Dawnbringers.
Harbingers. Yeah, Dawnbringers, where they had that really fucking dope Nurgle dude off the Death Dealer piece.
Yeah, and so I was like, and we had talked about this too because I was talking about how half price books overprices fucking everything.
Depending on which half price books, but yes,
depending. But the one particularly by
the Starbucks.
no, the old Army Trail Road one.
Yes,
Is it Bloomingdale?
Bloomingdale. Yeah, it's Bloomingdale.
Yeah, it's Bloomingdale. But most of them do overprice a lot of their gaming stuff.
This is true.
So I was for our listeners for benefit. I was there the other day, and I found a 5th edition Battle Magic set in box.
Very cool.
I paid a little bit more than I normally would have for it. I paid $40, but it was near complete, and most of the stuff inside was unpunched.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, I know. But what they had there was a bunch of 2nd edition Warzones or at 1st edition Warzone stuff. So, the old Warzone from Target Games.
You could have gotten the Warzone.
They had every book there, like in pristine condition. And the rule book actually had the packing slip in it. It was like two Thomas, Jones, these books, and it had the coupons in there for I think it was Excelsior Entertainment was the original distributors.
Man,
and it was like had
cool.
Excelsior coupons in there that you could have used. And I was like, this is like a chunk of gaming history, but they wanted $19.99 for the book. And I'm like, okay, first off, there's no way in hell this book is worth $20.
Look,
like,
gaming history ain't worth that much, okay?
Yeah, no one even has the fucking figures you need to play this game.
Someone's got a Warzone army. Someone
they do, but if they still have a Warzone army, they still have the rule books.
Also true.
Yeah. And so that's the part that made me real mad off the bat. Like, I'm like, no one is actively looking for these books.
Nah, no, not a chance.
If they had like someone had turned in an original Warzone box set, like the 2-player box set,
yeah,
I would have probably bought everything.
Yeah,
and just to have that collection.
It would go well with your Siege of the Citadel.
Oh man, I was going to talk about that in a little bit, but man, it was beautiful. The condition these books were in, but they wanted like literally $20 a book, and I'm like, I could never in a million years justify spending that much money on on Warzone books.
Yeah,
that's not worth it. Like, those are the type of books that you find for like, okay, so this is what
those are garage sale books.
Those are garage sale books. Those are like books that you would see for $4.99, or like a kid would see for $4.99 and be like, "Oh, look at this cool ass art in here."
You'd take the stack. You'd take the stack at the garage sale and offer $20 for the stack.
Yeah, and you'd see that, and you'd go through and you'd look at all the cool art, and you'd read the background, and you're like, "This is so fucking cool." Then when you're old enough to learn that the rules were trash, it's too late. You've become invested in this kind of like cool sci-fi world.
That's right. Now you're like, I got like a Bauhaus army.
Yeah, I'm gonna write Bauhaus fan fiction, and you don't have because you don't have the access. Like, kids don't have access to that. It's like you're shutting them out of the hobby. They should have access to these shitty old books that no one plays with anymore.
Yes,
I don't know if that's just me. It's like there should be. It's like lost pornography in the forest. When you find that in the 80s when you'd find the box of porn in the forest, and you'd be like, it's old perv left it out there.
The old dude died, and his porn collection is on the stoop, waiting to be picked up by the garbage men.
Exactly. And some kid finds it, and he's like, "This is magic."
That's actually a true story. There was a dude who died in the local neighborhood, and he had a massive porno collection. And my friend was like, "Dude, there's all this fucking porn. We got to get it." And I was like, "Wait, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, there's so much fucking porn." And I was like, "Okay." So we drove up and we did a fucking Operation Porno Steal, and we grabbed, it was 5 tubs of porno, threw it in the trunk of the car, in the back seat of the car. Someone was holding one of the tubs. It was like the most amount of porn I've ever seen. And there was like,
you had a car involved in this, so that means you were a little older.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a port. It was, I mean, if it was owned by anyone, you could consider it a heist. Anyway, so
Was-
and then so yeah, the contents were incredible. It was like there was like old Playboys, old Hustlers, a million billion VHS tapes. There was like it was so. It's still to this day the most porn I've ever seen in one place. The best part was like we were divvying up the spoils of war amongst all of the members who participated in the heist.
in the gang that did the heist.
Yeah, it was pretty great. That happened. I took some choice. I took one Hustler, one Playboy, and 2 VHS tapes is what I took.
Oh, VHS tapes too. Wow, that's a pretty diverse collection right there.
Yeah, he had everything. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything like that. I think it was at it was when the local when they first started doing recycling. That's how old this fucking story is, by the way. When the world first started doing recycling in the 90s, someone had put a box of porn, like a small box, out by one of the recycling centers that had just opened up, because this was before you actually had recycling in your house.
Yes.
And I remember walking past it, and I saw like on the top it said Playboy, and I was like, and I saw that, and so I just picked up the box and walked away with it.
Nice.
That's my story right there. It was like a little box. There was probably like 10, 12 magazines in it.
Nice.
I mean, I do remember one of the magazines was Ouy. O-U-Y. O-U-I.
Oh,
it was
oui.
French.
Nice.
I think. I don't know. I'm not a porno expert, so
Why
and
not?
this is not porn. This is porno. It's a different breed altogether. You know, porn is a little higher class. Porno, that's the old 90s stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
the real trash.
The trash. So anyway, yes, I don't remember how. That was like the gaming stuff that you find in the forest.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
It is.
Like kids, it's like it should be forbidden. Like, don't go read the Warzone books. That's terrible. It's gonna give you bad ideas.
It is forbidden.
It is forbidden. But the kid finds it anyway, and they get to go through, and they're like, "Oh my god, these rules are so cool." They're like, "Oh god, don't let the kid read this."
No, Billy, no.
You know, first starts off with Warzone, then it goes to Cronopia, and next thing you know, this kid's sitting there playing Clan War.
Clan War.
No, but but that's the thing. That's what bothers me about half price books is that, and that one in particular is that they overprice every gaming material just because at one point people were buying Dungeons and Dragons stuff there.
Yeah.
And so everything on there is just so ridiculously overpriced. And the other thing that bothers me about that store, and this has nothing to do with that, is that they have a lot of glass display cases that they put stuff behind, like saying, "Ooh, look at this book." You know, it's an expensive book. But the problem is that they don't hide the price tag on it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And they don't see the condition of it. So it's like if I wanted to see the book, I have to wait for the person to come and open it up.
Yes.
And then I look at their copy of, City of Thieves and for $80, and then I laugh at them and go, no, put that back.
Yeah, put that back right now.
Yes. Oh man. And that old lady who's the manager there is the fucking worst. I have a teacher discount card that I use there.
She's listening right now and you've made her cry.
I hope I did. I have a teacher discount card there, and it's good throughout the rest of this year. It's good to 2024. And I'm like, I'm trying to get out of there. And she's like, well, you need a new card. And then I'm like, I have this card. This card works. And she's like, do you have a teacher ID on you? And I'm like, yeah, here it is. And this is last year's ID. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And she's like, well, don't get mad. I'm only following. I'm like, no, you just don't want to give a discount is what your whole thing is. Oh, it gets me so mad. And this is why I'm on blood pressure medication, Steve. This is literally the reason I'm on blood pressure medication. It has nothing to do with my genetics. It has everything to do with every idiot on this fucking planet. There, I said it. And by the way, did you see the new plastic striking scorpions?
I did not see the new plastic striking scorpions.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, all right. I mean, plastic aspect warriors was that was the dream of 10 years ago.
Well, I think it was the last ones they did were the Howling Banshees, and that was about 10 years ago. The plastic aspect warriors is a dream of 20 years ago, Steve.
Also true.
Yes, and they got new plastic scouts too, which look awesome.
I want a Maugan Ra. He's got the Mauganator.
The Malganator. You do love the Malganator.
I like anyone whose weapon is their own name.
It's the Stevenator.
It's the Stevenator.
Yes. But that was I think that was the last big release that they showed for the Warhammer Day. Otherwise than that, the Warhammer Day presentation was kind of meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really honestly think that the holding back the release of New Epic has screwed up Games Workshop so much. Like they don't know what to do.
Yeah, it definitely like bodied their calendar, that's for sure.
Yeah, and they have the new website too, which is trash. Have you tried using it?
It's not surprising. It's bad.
Have you tried it yet?
I went on it for just like a second, and it's like I don't know. So like it's like a tech bro thing where like you'll take a functional and working website and like you just got to do a new one because it's got to be contemporary. That's literally all it is. It's because one tech bro pushes some fucking new website, some shit ass website design, and then I was like, oh well, we've got to stay competitive in the market, so we need to redesign our websites as well. And it's just like, yeah, okay, your website was functional, it worked great. No one gave a shit because it worked. Now you've got this like, oh yeah, it looks nicer, but it's impossible to fucking navigate now. Cool, great, thanks.
Yeah, it's the old website was perfect in that it was like, okay, I need to buy X. You literally there was like it wasn't. It was perfect.
It had 8 billion filters, like every category, everything was fast. It was easy. Now it's just like, oh, you perchance you would like to look at a Warhammer Age of Sigmar miniature. Please click here. Very well. You've selected Warhammer Age of Sigmar as your selection today. Please browse our fine wares. Which grand order would you like to look at? Perhaps death, order, chaos, maybe destruction today, sir? And it's just like, God damn it, just bring me to the fucking orc models.
Yeah. And it's like you can't even type in orc. Like you type in orc on the website and it's like its brain explodes.
It just crashes.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. But it pisses me. It pisses me off because it's like you said, shit doesn't need to change. It doesn't.
If you want to improve shit, you can. A total redesign is not improving. That's literally scrapping and starting over. And then people like they don't seem to think that like it is scrapping and starting over. It's like, no, you can just tweak. If it works, just fucking tweak it. You know, but again, it's you know, it's whatever. It's capitalism. That's all it is.
I do like the welcome to Warhammer video that they show at the start of it, because you just have a bunch of like, it shows like a family playing or sitting around the table playing a Warhammer game, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that in my life.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
What
like, and they keep showing the same guy who's got like a ponytail, and I'm like, why does this guy got a ponytail? What the hell's going on here?
What kid has the attention span for fucking Warhammer now? Not a one.
Yes, they need to show like two guys standing across each other from a table playing the game with long periods of silence over the period of 45 minutes,
and one dude pointing at a rule book and just like screaming with the vein bulging in his head.
No. You have to be seeing they're playing, and then what the one guy goes, wait a second, let me look that up. They spend the next 5 minutes looking up the rule.
Yes, also true.
That's what needs to be there. Oh God. But yes, it's silly and ridiculous and didn't need to happen that way.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's fine. It's like, it's who cares? It's just one of those things where it's like, that's annoying. Like you make that mouth noise that like,
yeah, that's
yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's mouth noise worthy.
It's mouth noise. It's non-verbal mouth noise.
Yes,
is what it is. Just like the
non-verbal mouth noise.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. I guess. Yeah. Perfect.
Or yeah, the sucking the air through your teeth noise, like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. So anyway, let's move on to non-Games Workshop stuff. Do we have any other Games Workshop stuff we need to talk about?
No, we talked about Games Workshop for like an hour.
And we really did. GW does have I'm finding this whole epic debacle to be hysterical. That's the last thing I'll have to say on this. It's like they still have not announced a day yet for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as someone who again still deals with plenty of logistics delays. It's because the shit is fucked, and like people think that there's like this hidden release date that these companies have, and it's like, no. The reason they haven't told you, the reason I don't know, the reason you don't know, is because they don't fucking know. Stop asking me.
The best thing is they're announcing it tomorrow when we're dropping this podcast, right after we say this.
I mean, that's fine, but like, I mean, they all will announce it when they finally know, but like, it's not like they have it like hidden.
Because it was supposed to be released in August, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it was August, I think, because it was
late August, I think.
It was late August, and now it's November. It's going to be November 12th when we drop this. And they still had not, up until the time of this recording, which is on the 11th, Veterans Day here in America. I don't know if they do Veterans Day in Europe. I think they do, right?
I think they still call it Armistice Day.
Armistice Day. Yeah, of course. That's something Europeans would say.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they want the peace rather than celebrating the war.
Yes, but you know,
this is America. We celebrate war.
Just come up with a fancy fucking name for it. Armistice.
No,
Armistice.
it's because the holidays, the meaning of the holiday is different. But anyway, let's.
Well, yeah. Why don't they just call it Peace Day? Huh?
I mean, I actually think there already
Europeans.
I think there already is a World Peace Day.
Yeah. Europeans to throw around syllables like they ain't got anything to pay for them.
Yeah, I mean they can. They don't have to. They don't have crippling healthcare debt.
That is the armistice. Ugh.
Again, they have the time to do this because they don't have crippling healthcare debt. I don't know.
That's very true. Very true. But it's okay because you know our next election we're gonna be going through another 4 years without universal healthcare. So why not?
I mean, you could just say that. You could just say that forever.
Yeah, exactly. Next 4 years, no universal healthcare, people. It's because you keep making the same damn mistakes. And you know what your mistake is? Not eating the rich.
It's true.
All you have to do is eat one rich person. That's going to make every rich person on the planet go, wait, they're going to eat us? What?
They're literally going to eat us? It's like, yes, we are literally going to eat you.
Then they might change their way that they do things. I mean, that's the way that the French did it. Like the aristocracy, you know, they started chopping off some heads. All of a sudden, the aristocrats were like, yeah, power to the people. Let's give them healthcare and schooling and stuff.
It's correct.
And a fair wage. And then all of a sudden, you know what happened? People stopped chopping off heads. And that's the way it works.
It's true. You stop chopping off when you get what you want. You stop chopping off the head. It's a basic rule.
Why do you gotta keep bringing up the universal healthcare stuff? It gets me off on a tangent, Steve.
I don't know, because it's constantly on my mind because I have a massive amount of medical debt.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep bringing it up because it's always on my mind.
So we also so the Games Plus auction happened. And I got some stuff, and I got a sealed, not a sealed, but a near mint copy of Siege of the Citadel. And I am so mad at myself and happy because I have a copy of it, but I do not want to open it up and play with it.
No, that's for your game store look.
I know, but I would love to. I got to find an old copy that's kind of beat up, so that way I can actually play it because I wanted to play the damn game.
Yeah, it's fun.
I know, but I wanted to play it with my kids, and I was just like,
I mean, it's dated, but like it's fun.
Yeah, I just couldn't justify opening it up because the figures are still in the sealed packs, Steve.
Oh man,
that's how mint it is.
You should not open that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like all the figures are mint in package. None of the terrain or anything like that is punched. It's like it literally looks like it was in the window of a game store for years, and someone just was like, "Okay, I have this. I'm going to sell it now."
Mm-hmm.
But the other one that the other game that they had there too was in the same condition. The beret one, whatever the red beret, blood beret one was.
Yes.
I was excited about that too. But it was like both of them went for $40, and I'm like, I'm not going to spend $80 on the two of them. If I'm going to spend $40, I'm going to buy Siege of the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the more appropriate one to buy for that.
For sure.
But I ended up selling all of my old Epic stuff because I said, you know what, it's now or never. Because if the new Epic gets released, I'm never going to be able to sell the old stuff.
True.
And sure enough, I ended up selling it, and I think it made like $450.
Nice.
So I was like, that's pretty nice. I'm very happy I got that for all my. Trust me, I got screwed in the deal because if I had pieced it, I probably could have sold it for more, but it's not worth it at that point.
Nah.
No, not when you have like 4 massive boxes worth of shit.
Yeah, just pile it, pile style.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to deal with that. But yeah, that was weird thing with the auction this year that I noticed was there was no or very, very little Warma Hordes or Flames of War.
Well, I mean, I have to figure everyone. I believe those games have probably both reached equilibrium where everyone who was trying to dump has dumped and anyone interested in buying has bought. So it's over.
Yeah. But actually, I've heard incredibly good things about the new edition of War Machine.
It's probably fine.
No, I was doing a deep dive into it and looking into it, and I was looking up reviews of the new stuff. Now, this might be skewed because it might be coming from long time, and like people who say, like, I've played every edition of War Machine, so they're emotionally and psychologically invested in
Right.
War Machine.
There's sunk cost fallacy to the max.
Yes, sunk cost fallacy to the max. But they did say, like, hey, look, this is like the best edition I've played since, I think they said, second edition.
I mean, I would say I can agree with that just based on one, like, without having looked at a single rule, without having looked at a single rule, without paying any attention, I can agree with that. And there's a reason why, because if I am not mistaken, and I might be, if anyone still plays War Machine Hordes and listens, please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. But you don't have customization anymore.
Yeah.
You've got, this is your fucking army. Like, your army is 50 points. This is what you got. Like, you buy the army. This is what you got. You don't have the wombo combo building anymore. It's like, it's just I'm playing whatever the fucking, I'm playing the shoulder pad guys. Oh, I'm also playing the shoulder pad guys. And like, it doesn't have the like fiddly thing. And also, obviously removing almost all of the choices from the armies is going to help with that as well.
Yes, they were like they said that the big issue right now is that some of the early 3D prints that they put out to the stores were very, very brittle. And so they would break very easily.
Oh, they didn't.
And just like you were saying earlier with the resin.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll never find out if the new War Machine is great because it's all resin. I'll never play an all resin game.
Yeah, a lot of it's saying like the balance feels really good with it. So, I mean, you can keep that in mind with it, but it seems like they've kind of found their way in terms of that. So what they just need to do now is just build up a player base again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see.
Which, what they should do is, and I always felt like War Machine was kind of the anti-Games Workshop in many ways because of this, but what they really need to do is they really need to start emphasizing War Machine as the anti-40K. And one of the ways that they could do that is by saying, like, you like War Machine, you like playing your army? Well, guess what? Your army is going to be good for, this long, and it's going to be balanced for this long, as opposed to your army in 40K, which is only going to be good for 3 months until the next codex comes out.
Right.
That's kind of the way that they need to do it. So that
I don't think codex creep is that bad yet in current edition 40K. It's gonna take a little bit before codex creep sets in again.
It's been about a year, right?
Yeah, it still takes longer than that. Like the codex creep starts getting really, really bad like around halfway through the game's lifespan, I found.
Which is about a year because they do a new edition every 2 years.
It should be about 6 months from now. Whatever codex comes out 6 months from now should be the busted one.
I think
the first of the busted.
It might be the Necrons.
Yeah,
I think it could be Necrons or I don't know.
Necrons need it, man. They've been pretty ass for a really long time.
Necrons or Mechanicus or whatever. I don't know. Whatever one of those two. So no, it's gonna be a new Space Marine Codex.
I don't know. I still stand by. I think the best, like my personal way of how I'd want to play 40K would 100% just be that the box set battle one, where you just use
set battle one.
Yeah.
Oh, the small combat patrol.
Yeah, you either use combat patrol box or boarding patrol box, and those were what you play against each other. Like I bring a combat patrol box, you bring a combat patrol box, and you just play that. Like
you just want to. You just want to play a magic, what are those called? With the unbroken decks, unsealed or sealed deck.
Oh, sealed, pre-constructed.
Pre-constructed. Yeah, you just want to play pre-constructed magic is what you want to play.
Basically, yeah.
For 40K.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yes. Because the thing about all those box sets is that they actually, I don't know, like a lot of people might not know this, but you don't actually have a codex when you play that format. The way those things work is they actually have there's like a set of rules for the combat patrol box. Like it has the specific Combat Patrol box, its own rules, everything, and so on and so forth. Like, you don't actually use the Army codexes or anything. It's literally just the box versus box. It has all of the rules.
BVB.
Yes, it's BVB, and it has all of the rules. Like, the rules are available for the box, and you just take your box rules versus their box rules. So, like, any Army special rules, blah, 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 all that shit is just whatever is in your, like, data sheet, I guess, for your Army box.
Data sheet.
Yeah.
It's pronounced data.
I said data sheet.
I know. I said data.
Oh, yes, it's
Like Catherine Pulaski.
Yes, but my name is Data.
Have you watched the new season of Lower Decks yet?
I have not. Is it good?
It's very good. Very good. A lot of old faces. A lot of Voyager talk, which kind of is annoying.
Yay!
I know. I you know my feelings on Voyager.
I love Voyager. Yay!
It turns out that the biggest villain of Voyager was Robert Beltran.
That's actually 100% true.
But it's actually kind of funny because I've seen a lot of people defending him online.
Why? He tried to fucking, like, that dude wanted out of his contract so bad he sabotaged the show multiple times.
I mean, it didn't take much to sabotage that show.
But did it? But did it? Maybe he did more
I say
damage than you
sabotage.
think.
What?
Is it maybe he did more damage than you think?
Oh no, he did a ton of damage,
Yeah,
but
he
I don't think that
really
is really
fucked
that
it up.
big of a deal because Voyager itself was already damaged.
I liked Voyager. It's the fast food of Star Trek.
Eh,
It's not good for you, but it tastes good.
yeah, I mean, I think I said like for a lot of those 90s shows, with the exception of DS9, because I think DS9 you really well anyway, for the original series, Next Gen, Voyager, maybe not. Let's leave Enterprise out of it. You really just need to go on IMDb and look at any episode that has over an 8.0 rating. And if you look at that, you're going to find the best of episodes, and that's going to be good.
That is true.
With DS9, I recommend finding out what are like the core story arc episodes. So like once you start getting into like second season, when they start doing the Dominion War and stuff like that, you got to find out like what are the core episodes of the Dominion War, and you have to watch all of those.
Yes.
Because that makes sense. But there's, the problem is with that, and I was just looking at it the other day because I was rereading through the Dominion War to remember what happened during the whole thing.
Yes.
And I was like, that's just a terrible plot point. Why would they include that?
Even DS9 has some funk and some weird episodes too.
Like remember how they did the whole thing with like checking the blood to see if the blood was changeling blood, but yet that Klingon did it and he was not able to show the changeling blood.
Yes.
And then it turns out he was a changeling, and I was like, they should have fucking known not to do that.
Yeah.
With that character.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
They fucked that up.
Yeah, they fucked it up bad. Is what they did.
Yeah, it's there's always I think that kind of stuff is just gonna, because of the way Star Trek was written, because it was always by like a bunch of people, it was not a singular person's vision. You have weird inconsistencies. Like, perfect example, like the episode Prophet and Lace.
God.
Prophet and Lace is one of my favorite episodes to talk about with this concept I'm talking about. So Prophet and Lace, not a good episode. Like,
no,
it is not a good episode. Like, no one should get it twisted. The episode is not good. It is very dated. But I will say this: it also doesn't make sense from a character standpoint for Quark to do that episode at the time that episode came out. If that was because Quark has had character development, like he's changed his character. So if Prophet and Lace, because I think Prophet and Lace was a season 6 episode.
That's beyond me at that point.
I think it was a season 6 episode, but it was a late. If not specifically season 6, it was a later episode. So it doesn't make any sense for Quark's character at that time to be how he is in that episode. Now, if it was an earlier episode, it would have made sense, because it's like, oh yeah, because Quark didn't have these like moments of character development where he's like, slowly learning that like, oh wait, maybe like being a huge piece of shit isn't the way to be the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's always my example, and I think that comes because that was probably something that some rando writer wrote, and they were like, fuck, we need an episode, and they're like, oh, what about this one? And they just like blew the dust off of it, and they're like, yeah, good enough, it's got Quark.
It's got Quark. No, it's definitely a bad all around. Like it was just that should not have been done.
Yeah.
Like that should have been like a first season episode.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like it like legit was like it was like a first maybe season 2 episode, like for it to fit like the character.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like it should have been in the first season when they had those awful episodes of Deep Space Nine. And I will and like everyone knows, first season of Trek is always terrible.
Yeah, it's
with
mean
the
everyone's
exception of Strange New Worlds.
yeah, you got to find your footing.
Yeah, but that's because Strange New Worlds was like season 1.5 because like the first half of the first season was during Discovery.
Yeah, I mean also think it's just the writing was just tight because they weren't doing that many episodes. That's I mean we've talked about it a million times, but like Star Trek's biggest weakness is the fact that there were so many fucking episodes in a season.
Yeah, but you know what? The older I get, the more I realize that like all of those episodes, like there's just a lot of character development in those episodes, which I think Strange New Worlds is missing.
I agree.
We need to learn like so Lower Decks does 10 episodes, but there's only like 4 main characters in Lower Decks.
Yes.
So you get to know all those characters fairly well. You could do 2 Tendi episodes and 2 Boimler episodes, and you get to know those characters. Now in Strange New Worlds, there's only 10 episodes, but it's a huge fucking cast.
The cast is pretty big. And
So
I
you
like
don't-
all of the characters too. So that is the one thing about Strange New Worlds. And I'm very much looking forward to the winter times here. So I'll be doing my running and watching Strange New Worlds soon. But like the thing I do like about Strange New Worlds the most is that I like everyone.
Yeah.
Like I like every one of the fucking crew. I'm like, damn, I like everyone in this show. So like if they did an episode about literally any crew member of that show, I'd be riveted. I'd be like, yes, please tell me more.
Yeah, I mean there was a couple episodes I was not a big fan of this season, but that it wasn't like terrible. It was just I was just kind of like this episode's kind of boring. But aside from that, there's our Trek rant. We're done with Trek. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We're talking about Trek.
I will never apologize for Trek.
Star Trek forever. Yeah, that was the fun the fun Star Trek stuff that I wanted to talk about.
Nice.
And aside from that, do we have any other gaming stuff that we specifically need to talk about?
I guess tangentially related. Apparently,
the new Star Trek game.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, we should talk about that before I.
That's
before I talk about
tangentially
Star Trek.
related to Star Trek.
So WizKids announced a new Star Trek miniatures game with Into the Unknown is the name.
Into the Unknown.
And
Into the Unknown.
The big draw for it is extremely highly detailed ship miniatures, and I believe the scale is bigger than like slightly bigger than WizKids normally does. So
I'm sorry, but that's like the nerdiest thing I think we've ever said on this podcast. The biggest draw is the highly
no. That's what they're that's what
I
they're
know that's what but I think it's like it's one of the nerdiest things that we've ever like specifically said in terms
sure.
like it makes us sound
yeah.
I mean, they're highly detailed.
Highly detailed. Well, I mean, obviously, it's WizKids, so like,
yes,
you're gonna talk shit about their fucking models because their models all kind of suck.
Yeah, their models do suck ass.
Yeah, so actually having nice models is cool. Like, I mean, I did like.
I mean, the ships that that little pic that you showed me of the Defiant and the
Constellation
class.
class.
The name of that class.
Constellation class.
What's that?
It was a Constellation class.
That was not a Constellation class in that picture.
Oh.
It might have been a Constellation class. Yeah.
I think it is because that's what the Stargazer is, right?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I thought I saw only 2 nacelles. No, it's 4. Yeah, that's a Constellation class.
Constellation class.
Yes, but they're both very beautiful looking, and the painting on them is really great too. If that's the way that the actual production pans out.
Yeah, hopefully it is because man, that was nice. And I'm very intrigued and interested and kind of like very pleased about those bases because it looks like they're going to be doing a lot of like token stuff, but these bases have slots in them. Like,
yeah, I found that interesting.
So it looks like they're actually going to do a clean token-based game, which is awesome. Because the thing I always hated about the Fantasy Flight token-based games is that there's fucking shit all over the goddamn table. All over the fucking table. Like there's fucking tokens everywhere. If these all have tokens that slot into the miniatures base only, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Because remember I was asking what engine that it's going off of.
Yeah, they have not disclosed.
I think it might be Star Wars Armada.
Oh, well, I mean, Armada's a good engine. And actually, I was about to say the one miniatures game that they did with ships that I thought the models were nice for was actually Armada.
And you know what the Enterprise D can do?
It can saucer separation, baby.
Saucer separation, baby.
Yep.
Woo woo!
Oh man, you know what? So every so often
You're only allowed to do it twice a game.
I was gonna say every so often I rewatch Encounter at Farpoint, and man, they thought they were going to be doing that saucer separation a fucking lot, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, it takes up a good 5 minutes of screen time. So if they ever needed to like eat up some time on screen, they're like saucer separation.
Yeah. It's although I do like the combat bridge. That was something they didn't use very often, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So the first set they're doing is the Federation versus the Dominion,
which is a very good, very smart choice for your first set.
I guess. I mean,
what are you gonna do again? The fucking Borg? Come on.
What, Klingons or Romulans?
Not if you're launching with TNG. It's got to be. Or, I'm sorry, TNG era. So it's got to be Dominion War.
I guess it's just that the Dominion ships are not super recognizable.
True.
So like if they had done like Cardassian ships or something like that, I might have been a little more.
Well, since it's the Dominion War, they can easily segue into Cardassian ships as like the next one.
Oh yeah, I get what they're doing. I just that the Dominion ships never looked that cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the Jem'Hadar fighters.
Yeah,
they're pretty cool, but they're small. Like they're not capital ships, so like I don't even know if they're going to do the Jem'Hadar fighters.
So let's see. The core set comes with a Galaxy class starship, a Constellation class starship, and a Defiant class starship, a Jem'Hadar battle cruiser, 2 Jem'Hadar fighters, a learning guide, a rulebook, 3 acrylic range rulers, 15 acrylic system markers, 2 turning tools, 12 custom dice, 24 mission cards, 30 officer cards, 30 damage effect cards, assorted tokens, and 30 equipment, directive, and other unit cards. The game is for 2 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in 120 minutes and will retail for $149.99.
Damn, 2 hours? That's a long playtime.
Especially for a ship game like that.
They must have some fucking serious rules. Jeez.
Yeah. They also have Star Trek Discovery Black Alert board game coming out from WizKids. I don't know.
And and once again I need to. It's not WizKids. This one's Gale Force 9. But once again I must lament about that Away Missions game and their horrible choice of aesthetics for their fucking models.
Yeah, I mean that's like, the problem with the game. It's like I have no idea how the game plays. I have no idea about any of it, but it's just like the models are the instant turnoff. It's like a boner killer. Conceptually,
it sounds great because it's Shadespire but fucking Star Trek. So it's fucking it's 2 away teams against each other. Like that sounds brilliant. Like I was like, yeah, that sounds fucking great. Like that sounds like an awesome idea. Like okay, yeah, it's fucking it's Kirk and the crew versus some Klingons, and they're trying to get some fucking some MacGuffin before each other. That sounds awesome, but not when it's Kirk. Not when it's Kirk and 50% of his fucking body mass is his head.
Well, actually, that is pretty much Kirk, right?
That's only if you count his ego.
That's only if you count his ego.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset. Because I heard. I was like, oh, skirmish game, Star Trek, away missions, away teams. That sounds cool. And then I saw the models, and I was just like,
no, I'm with you on that one. I look at it and I'm like, this is just terrible. If I ever bought that game, I would literally, I would never paint the minis. They would just be like board game minis for me. I couldn't paint those.
Honestly, like, I mean, what I would like, I mean, I'm not suggesting that, this seems like a lot of effort. So I'm not actually suggesting it. But what one could do is one could use the very excellent Modiphius Star Trek miniatures to play this game.
So Alex Davey is the designer who is he got fired from Fantasy Flight Atomic Mass. So he went over to WizKids and was one of the lead designers on the game. So, he helped with Legion, X-Wing, and Armada. So I'm sure it's got his fingerprints all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably where the Armada
idea
like
stuff.
rules design will come in on it.
Yeah, I mean, Armada would be a pretty sensible rule set for Star Trek.
I completely agree, and I was saying that I kind of wish that they would really do a 3-dimensional Star Trek game, which is ironic in some ways because no ship fight in the history of Star Trek has ever used 3 dimensions. For some odd reason, the Klingon battlecruiser and the Enterprise will always meet on the same level plane of space, facing up on the exact same way. It's not like one ship is upside down and the other one is the other side, other way. There's a
little bit of a talk about that, but they said that they've always said that is a service to the viewers.
No, it is. I'm not joking. Yeah.
But they have mentioned, like, tech wise, if anyone ever wondering, everything that a fucking starship has in Star Trek is multi-directional. Like literally does not matter. Like, you could be upside down, left or right. Like, the phaser banks can shoot from fucking any angle. The torpedoes can launch from any angle. Like, it doesn't matter. So, like, you just be like, in your head, you can pretend that they're in any fucking angle you want. The outcome of the fight does not change.
Yeah, there's no real. Well, I mean, it's well, for me it would be more about like vulnerability of specific vulnerability of specific sections.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you want to target their warp nacelles, you got to make sure that you're within like line of sight of the warp nacelles, right?
Which is also kind of weird because like once the shields are down for a ship, they're dead anyway, so does it really matter?
Yeah, I guess you're right in that thing. It was but how else am I going to fight someone in the Mutara Nebula?
Well, actually, I should take it back. Only the Federation cares, because the Federation is like one of the only factions that actually wants to disable the other ship rather than destroy it.
That's very true. Very true.
So for the Federation, yes, I guess it matters. For the Klingons, just like, sure, their shields are down. Where should we aim? Just like, their fucking bridge. Kill them.
See, this is why we need to be voices on lower decks. We could be Klingon captains.
Yeah.
Their fucking bridge.
Their fucking bridge. Listen, I have found Earth. I have found something from Earth that is finally good. It is called death metal.
You haven't heard Burzum until you heard them in the original Klingon.
That's right.
I like how that's like one. It's like, and you know what the thing is Mick, the listener, is going to yell at me. He goes, "That's not death metal." I'm like, whatever.
I'm fairly certain. Well, Burzum might be black metal. I think.
Exactly. See, it's like.
Well, I mean, if anyone ever cares, the difference between black metal and death metal is they're the same audio style, the same vocal style as one another. But death metal sings about gross shit and gore and violence. And black metal sings about castles and wizards and fucking vampires and shit. There you go.
I will take your word for it. We're gonna get yelled at.
It's not a style difference. It's a topic difference.
Anytime you try to differentiate one type of metal from another, you get yelled at.
I mean, that's true.
It's like when you're talking about Israel and Palestine, you just don't, because you're gonna get yelled at.
You're gonna get yelled at.
You're gonna get yelled at by someone.
True. It's true.
Yeah. So that's why I just keep my mouth shut. I will yell all day about eating the rich, because what are the rich going to do? Take away my livelihood? Of course.
Yeah, they're already going to do that.
They're already going to do that if they could.
Yeah, exactly.
If they could save 1 cent on a ledger, they would do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a fraction of a cent on a ledger, they would do that. But aside from that, okay, so what was the other thing you wanted to mention?
Oh, yeah. So Darktide. Apparently, the most recent patch has made it good.
Oh, the video game?
Yeah. Because it was. I mean, I bought it like day one. I played it, and I mean, I wouldn't say it was ass, but it really wasn't that fun. Supposedly, like I said, it's one of those weird things where it's like I wouldn't slam the game. Like I'm like, because it wasn't ass, but it wasn't fun. It was like a very like C+ game. Not the soundtrack though. The soundtrack is fucking banging. It has one of the best soundtracks I've heard in video games in like literally years. Like if you want a really good painting soundtrack, just throw on the fucking Darktide soundtrack. It is great. It's really
I only
fun.
listen to soundtrack music.
Well, usually I'm listening to a podcast, audiobook, or live stream, so I don't listen to music much anymore. But it is some good tunes. However, the most recent patch apparently added and fine-tuned a whole bunch of shit and made the game a lot more fun. So there, I haven't played it yet post-patch personally, But it's something I've been seeing people talk about it because like one of the guys in the Discord I'm with, he was like fucking slamming that game so hard. He was so fucking mad about it because he'd been looking forward to it for a really long time. And he's like, you just get fucking sucked. He's like so mad. And then I saw him playing it on Discord, and I like messaged him. I was like, hey man, you're playing Darktide. What's up? And then he like explained to me what was going on. I was like, oh, so yeah. So if anyone hasn't played Darktide and you wanted to like Darktide, maybe give it a shot. The recent patch supposedly is pretty good.
Oh, that's cool. By the way, I found they have playthrough videos of Into the Unknown out right now,
Oh, nice.
and I was looking at it. Holy crap, is this game fiddly?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, those bases are fucking. You
So many tokens.
tell.
Oh my god, and like the ship cards are gigantic with so much stuff on them.
Do the tokens slot into the bases? Please tell me the tokens slot into the bases.
Yes, it looks like there's little
Yes!
things that slot into the base.
Yes.
It's hard to see
I
because
love
they
that kind of
really
shit.
like whoever designed this playthrough video was obviously a person who did it on their phone, and the person's like 50 years old.
Ah, yeah.
At least it was done in landscape as opposed to the vertical or whatever that's called, horizontal mode.
Mhm.
But yeah, it look. I'm gonna give a
Portrait
look
mode.
through this
Portrait mode.
portrait mode. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Portrait
So
mode
some of the
landscape.
stuff that I immediately don't like about this game, but it's completely understandable, is proprietary dice.
Yeah.
A shit ton of tokens. But what you know what I do like about it? So you know how their the game board looks? What they do is they give you these little like hemispheric markers. Like they look like part of a circle,
Mm-hmm.
and they're acrylic. And then you spread them out, and that's how big your board is.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can make a circle using these, and that's your board.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't necessarily need it, but that's pretty neat when you think
that's,
about it.
That's just cool.
So you can make your game board as big as whatever table you need it to be because of how big you have the circles.
I like that.
And I was going to talk about this earlier, but I think we got off on a tangent. Is that with the three-dimensional Star Trek games, I've always thought one would be interesting is you do basing your Star Trek rules basically off of ship of the line games, like Age of Sail games.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have Black Sails or Age of Sail, which are two boat games that you have out right now. Because that's kind of how Star Trek is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like Horatio Hornblower in space,
Mm-hmm.
flying around on your ship and
I
doing,
gotta- I mean,
naval engagements. And
I'm
shit.
all for three-dimensional idea, like conceptually, but how do you make that and make it fun?
I mean, basically, I thought of a couple different ways of doing that. One is that you have a 1 foot acrylic rod that you move your ship up and down to specific notches on the rod.
Oh,
using,
okay.
like,
They did that for there was a I think it was it HeroClix? No, it wasn't HeroClix. There was a WizKids game where figures that could fly had that. They had like a little like dial thing you can go up and down on.
Yeah, well, I think HeroClix had the other way, which way I thought about it was that you have pegs that stack on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you're at a 1 peg height, you're at a 2 peg height, or a 3 peg height, and that would change your, bonuses or whatever for that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So in Star Trek, you are right though. It doesn't make any sense because the Federation is the only one that really cares about wherever you're targeting. Klingons only want to target the bridge.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I guess no, that makes sense because if you're underneath, Klingons, well, they would target anything, but they want to target the bridge.
They're going to destroy your ship. Like they're going to shoot whatever they can shoot at that is going to be the most lethal shot at that time.
I think we should make cards for our game classy listeners that have us as like character cards for your fleet, where we're called incompetent Commodores.
I want to be a Badmiral.
You could be the Badmiral, and the rules basically just say like, "There's nothing else I can do."
My hands are tied.
And I'll be the Commodore who takes over the fleet.
My hands are tied.
The power hungry Commodore.
Yeah, see, no, that okay. There's the storyline. You're the power hungry Commodore that takes over the fleet, and I'm the Badmiral. They come to try and ask for help, and I'm just like, my hands are tied.
He's like, this guy wants to fly the fleet into the sun because he thinks the sun is evil. Nothing I can do.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Gotta destroy the sun.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about it, Captain. He's got the backing. He's got the backing of the High Council.
He's got the
My-
backing. He's got the backing of the Federation Council.
Yeah, he's got the backing of the Federation Council. My hands
He's
are
got the
tied.
backing of Red Foreman, the president of the Federation Council.
Yeah, my hands are tied.
My hands are tied.
That's my dream. My dream is to be in a Star Trek project where I get to be an admiral and I get to tell someone my hands are tied.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I actually the evil Commodore part is way too big. You can't be that's not a cameo.
Yeah, no. I want a cameo, and the cameo is me saying my hands are tied.
Or I could be an evil computer. You know.
Ooh, that'd be
Evil
cool.
AI.
It was just like I mean I feel it's the same kind of tier as how I feel about how Kevin Smith wanted to be on Law and Order, but he wanted to be just like the guy who leads them to the guy who leads them to the guy who leads them to the guy. Like yes, like that. I'm all in. Like that's what I want.
Yeah. I knew Jack, and he's like just putting pizzas in the oven. I knew Jack. Yeah, he came in here once a week.
Yes,
You know where he worked? Yeah, he worked over at the shoe store down on 35th Street. Thank you. No problem.
Yeah, have a great day. Hey, you want a slice?
You want a slice?
Yeah, see that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like that's the kind of cameo I want.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's what I would like too. I think the Badmiral would work very well.
You know what it is? It's because we want cameos. We don't want to guest star.
No, we could cameo as me and you. If we want to do it together, we could be Binars.
Oh, that'd be yeah, could be Binars. Or I could do we could do what's the stupid guys? Packlids. We could be the Packlids. We could be a couple of Packlids.
Oh no.
You broke it, Joe.
I play Eldar.
We've got a bigger gun.
No, I actually, if I, in all honesty or truth, I would like to cameo as a Klingon captain.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
You have 5 minutes to surrender your ship, and that's it. That's like my whole line.
Yeah. I could be another. I'll be another Klingon captain. We could be 2 Klingon captains. Show up, and I'll be like, target the bridge.
No, I'm gonna sit there and I go, I give you 5 minutes to surrender your ship, and then you come on and it's like, I give you 4 minutes to surrender your ship.
That's right. You have 4.
Damn it, Steve! I will see you in Stovacor.
We'll see each other there. Bring me some got.
Oh well, all right. So we're about at the end here. Go to the Game Classy Facebook page. It's the best way you can get access to the Game Classy Discord, where we all talk and chat and share funny images of butts.
Lots of listeners chatting there. It's nice to see.
It's very nice to see. Very fun.
Yes. Also, it's fun. It's fun to slander Star Wars and then have Star Wars Defenders and then slander Star Wars. It's good.
There's no Star Wars Defenders.
There's at least like 2.
No, they don't really defend Star Wars because you can't defend it. It's indefensible.
It is indefensible. It's true.
I watched Ahsoka, which is probably the best Star Wars thing that they've put out in years, and it was still terrible.
but Joe, you still watched it.
I did. Though there was like it's so weird. Like I know I'm old. I'm 42 years old at this point, but there's like this young blonde girl who's working with the evil Jedi guy, and it's like the thirst for her. I'm like, God, she's like what, 12? What the fuck is going on? Like, I'm just old, so I just find it, reprehensible, no matter what at that point.
Well,
but
I, as a classy individual, only thirst after anime girls. Thank you.
Well, I also have to keep the 10D thirst at bay on our boards.
I don't think anyone's really thirsty for 10D on our boards.
Everyone is thirsty for 10D, and it drives me nuts.
In general, sure, but not on the boards.
Not on the boards.
Not on our
That's
boards.
true. Not on the boards as much.
Yeah, not on our boards.
All right.
I mean, I like 10D. She's a fun character.
She is.
And besides, if I'm going to thirst for any character from Lower Decks, it's going to be that fucking cat lady.
The doctor.
The doctor. She's old. She's mean. She's got a broken tail. Yeah, she's my style.
She's not MRES for that. No. Is it MRES or MRES?
I think it's.
I don't
Mress.
remember.
I think it's Mress.
MRES. Okay. And then it is nice to have an Orion character because they've never really done that on Trek.
It's true.
They've never had an Orion character.
It's true, and I also really like that they cover a lot of like cool Orion stuff because the Orions are like the it's like the Orion Crime Syndicate, and like that's all you really know. So it's actually cool to have like more information about them.
Yeah, they
other
do a
than-
lot more this season with that, so
Oh,
you can
cool.
enjoy that.
I will be looking forward to that.
Yeah. You know what's actually really funny about that too, about Lower Decks? I'm sorry, guys. We'll finish this up in just a minute. But you know who they never do anything with for Voyager, which he probably would be super happy, is Harry Kim. They never do anything with Kim.
Maybe maybe they asked him and he said no.
It could be, but doesn't he have a Star Trek podcast? Isn't he doing like the Delta Flyers?
That
Isn't he
doesn't-
one of those guys?
That doesn't necessarily mean he wanted to be part of the project.
It
Like
could.
the only Voyager actor I know who will never fucking say no to a single thing is Tim Russ. That man will play fucking Tuvok for anyone at any time.
Well, they got Nick Locarno.
Yeah. Nick Locarno's great too, but I mean specifically like
Yeah.
very like fucking if you need Tuvok, just fucking get in contact. Tim Russ will do it.
Yeah, most of the cast actually of Voyager is pretty good about it, with the exception of Beltran.
Yeah.
And just because he's awful.
I met someone got when I went to the Star Trek convention, someone got sick and couldn't go. They couldn't attend. I can't remember who it was. And the
Was it
oh,
Spiner?
it wasn't. Yes, it was Spiner. Yes, Spiner was supposed to show, and he canceled it like the last minute. And they were like shit, and like because I mean obviously they advertised Spiner was gonna be there and he wasn't. And the convention runners ended up getting like we basically got like a bunch of great shit. Instead of Spiner, we got Martok and Gowron.
Ooh.
And then we also got I feel terrible because I can't remember his name, but we got Tom Paris's actor.
Yeah, that's Locarno.
Is that Locarno? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Robert Picardo when you said that.
Oh, not Picardo. No.
Yeah.
No, Paris. Tom Paris is Nick Locarno.
Nick
Tom
Locarno.
Paris and the guy from the episode with the Delta Flyers. I can't think of what his
Yes.
name
Okay.
is.
So that dude's great. Like I actually got to like actually chit chat with him for a while. He is funny. Like he's really nice. He's a funny guy. I like that guy. I was like, I was kind of lukewarm on Tom Paris before I met him, but now I really like Tom Paris.
Lukewarm on Tom Paris. He got that guy killed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tom Paris. The funny thing is, they really should have just paid that writer the fucking
I know that idea of the character arc would have been so much better.
Right. They just needed to pay the writer the fucking licensing to make it the actual character it was supposed to be from fucking Next Generation. It was supposed to be the character that got that the person killed during the Wesley Crusher episode.
Yeah. I think that kid's name is Nick Locarno. I don't think it was. What is his real name? I'm gonna look this up really quick.
Do it.
I know that that's the
but-
best part of our podcast is when we stop and look things up.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Everyone loves
is
it.
Robert Duncan McNeil.
Okay, McNeil.
Yeah, it's Robert Duncan McNeil, and Nick Locarno is the character he played in that episode with the Delta Flyers.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So if he was Nick Locarno, like he was supposed to be, as like conceptually, that would have made a whole lot more fucking sense. But the reason it didn't happen was because they didn't want to pay that writer the royalties to use the character.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was like the whole nonsense with that, and it like that. It's just one of the more and more of the problems with Voyager.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. The more you learn about why things happen the way they do in Voyager, the more frustrated you get about actually like Hollywood, like legit. Like that is what actually gets you frustrated. It's like, wow, so like you're telling me that this terrible writing decision wasn't actually a decision? No, it wasn't a decision. They had to do it. Like, oh, great.
The episode was The First Duty, by the way. I forgot about that.
The first duty of every Starfleet officer is to the truth, historical truth, scientific truth, any truth. If you can't handle that, then you don't deserve to wear that uniform.
And I don't want to spoil it, but there's like a really so the Lower Decks this season does a really good job of like tying in old Next Generation episodes, and especially the episode Lower Decks, which was a late season episode of Next Gen.
Episode so much.
What?
I love that episode so much.
They do a really good job of like weaving it into the Lower Decks cartoon, so I really recommend that.
Nice. Yeah, and I mean honestly, it's kind of funny. Like Lower Decks existing is, I mean, yeah, it's a cartoon and it's a comedy show. It's still good, But
Oh, yeah.
it's funny because conceptually, Lower Decks is something that I've wanted out of Star Trek for forever. Like an actual story where it's like, yeah, it's not about the bridge crew. It's about like the people who keep the ship running.
Nah, see, I want the captain.
Nah,
I want
well,
you,
the captain's still heavily involved in Lower Decks, though. That's the thing. Is like you have the captain as like an ambient, like.
No, I see. I like the main character being the captain is basically what I like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm down for some variants.
Well, I'm you know, we'll talk more after you watch this season because
All right, I'm in. I'm gonna.
I'm in.
I think I finished downloading everything, so I'll be able to watch that. I'm gonna watch that before I watch Strange New Worlds, actually.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Strange New Worlds Lower Deck crossover happens before, but it doesn't really have that much to do. Whatever. I don't. Why am I even talking about this?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care about sequential canon.
You don't. So you could also, if you want to see more of my stuff, you can go on Instagram. I'm at GameClassyJoe. I haven't posted anything in a while because I've been mostly working on D&D stuff, and my D&D stuff is not painted to the level that I really want to put on Instagram. I might do like a group shot of like the 1,000 figures that I painted, but that's about it. I'm also going to be working on them pre-Heresy Thousand Sons if you're interested in that. Pre-Heresy. Steve is still banned from all major platforms with the exception of Threads.
I'm on Blue Sky.
And Blue Sky. He's on Blue Sky. What's your handle on Blue Sky?
Command.
Is it Mr. Blue Sky?
It's Command Throw.
Yeah, Command Throw on Blue Sky. Bum, bum, bum,
Yep,
bum, bum,
that's me, Blue Sky. I'm the
Sun
Blue
is
Sky guy.
shining in the sky.
There ain't a cloud
inside.
I don't know. That's ELO, right?
Yes, that is ELO.
I really like one of their songs I really, really fucking like.
Evil Woman?
Twilight.
Oh, I like Evil Woman. That's my favorite ELO song.
Evil Woman.
Yeah.
It's so weird that the same band made all three of the songs we just said. Like if you
Yeah.
listen to those three songs and you're like, yeah, same band, you'd be like, what?
Well, they're kind of prog rocky.
Yeah, it's prog rock.
They were kind of like Devo in many ways, but not like as crazy as Devo. They were just like experimental musicians.
I like when Weird Al made a Devo song and did it better than Devo.
Dare to Be Stupid. It's a fantastic song.
Yep. Did you ever hear that? Did you ever hear the dude from Devo talk about it? He's like, he did Devo better than fucking Devo. I hated him for that.
Well, I mean, ELO, they have like ELO is a best of band because trust me, I have like 3 ELO albums, and you know what? The only one I listen to is the best of ELO.
Yes, I mean, I think a lot of bands are best of bands. To be honest with you.
Oh yeah, Don't Bring Me Down,
Bruce.
All right, so then yes, so Steve, until the next time.
Goddamn fucking old world better. Mostly fucking plastic models. I swear to fucking God.
All right, later.
Game Classy.